Health kits, a portable way to regenerate your HP over a short amount of time with just one click. When you are near death, these things can save you, sometimes. Health kits are quite useful for early game, but due to their bad scaling for later game, they are almost never used or relied on as a way to regen HP. If you read the title, you might be asking how health kits are used in speedruns. What if I told you that Dr. Zed isn't just selling health kits for regenerating HP, but for something far more broken? With these things, you can shave up to 30 minutes off of a speedrun. But how exactly is that done? First, we need to talk about the version differences. As you might know, there are two different versions of Borderlands 1. There's the normal Borderlands 1 released in 2009, and the Borderlands 1 Enhanced, which was a re-release back in 2019. The version that we're looking at today is the Enhanced version. If you guys know me, you know that I despise the Enhanced version of Borderlands 1. Keeping it short, it introduced new bugs, frame drops due to memory leaks, a bad inventory UI, ruined loot tables, and much more. These are just some of the many reasons speedrunners prefer to stick to the original version of the game when it comes to speedruns. Under all that mess, it did introduce some good glitches which we are going to take advantage of to beat this game faster. You remember the merging glitch back on Borderlands 2? It makes a return to the enhanced version of Borderlands 1. If you're not familiar, this glitch allows you to stack passive effects from guns onto a single gun. Basically, instead of holding one gun, you are now holding 4 guns all at the same time. For example, let's say you have a shotgun and 3 snipers that each have 250% critical hit damage listed on their cards. You can merge those 3 snipers onto your shotgun, giving it 750% bonus critical hit damage. That is huge for speedruns since damage is very important too. The way this glitch works is all thanks to the new inventory UI. When you equip a gun, you have the option to lock it so there is no way it will leave your inventory. This was added so that players didn't accidentally sell their favorite items. On PC, you have the option of dropping the gun out of your hands using a dash key. What happens when you lock a gun and attempt to drop it? Well, it merges into whatever gun you pull up next. So I can lock a sniper to my inventory, fake drop it, and swap to a different weapon to merge the critical hit damage on it. It gets even more broken when you consider the fact that you start out with 2 random gearbox weapons in a new game playthrough. One of those weapons can be the Silent Night Sniper, which has 800% critical hit damage listed on the card. This thing is the equivalent of a Jacob Sniper and the Borderlands 2 Ladyfist having a baby. It is monstrous how overpowered these starter weapons are, but hey, this is a speedrun, so anything that helps damage is a plus. The 2 starter weapons you want to get are the Silent Night and the Baja's Bigger Blaster. The Bigger Blaster isn't anything special, but it is a shotgun, so merging the Silent Knight's crit damage on it makes it a beast. If you land a critical hit, this thing will now one-shot most enemies for a bit of the early game. Now that we covered one of the 2 major tricks used in this speedrun, let's go back to the health kits. With merging at our side, how do the health kits come into play? Well, health kits will give you all the XP needed to stay on level for the speedrun. In the original Borderlands 1, speedrunners had to farm XP from many sources such as Skagzilla, Rackhive, and more. This wastes a lot of time since you have to run all the way to the boss, kill them once, save quit, and rinse and repeat. In the enhanced version, you're farming health kits instead. You see, in this game there are challenges, and these challenges can be completed for a big chunk of XP. One of these challenges is known as the Merchant of Death, which gives 20,000 XP for selling 1,200 items. On top of that, the Merchant of Death challenge can be reset using a clever trick allowing you to grab the 20,000 XP multiple times. This is a very quick XP farm since you can pick up and sell health kits at any health vendor. Just buy 1,200 health kits and sell them off. The problem is that in order to buy hundreds of health kits, you need a lot of money to afford those for early game. This is where the enhanced version of the game comes into play. Right after taking out the 5 required skags during the main story, speedrunners will head straight over to the General Nox DLC to farm money. In the enhanced version, you are now able to skip DLC cutscenes, which allows you to skip a 1.5-minute cutscene for Nox DLC. In the original version, you cannot skip this time-consuming cutscene. You are required to watch it in all of its entirety. I mean, you could go into the game files and delete the cutscene, but the speedrunning community banned it since you are not allowed to tamper with the game files. Also, going into a DLC in the original version of Borderlands 1 was not allowed for main story speedruns according to the speedrunning community rules. I did find it odd that this rule existed since you are allowed to go to DLCs for the enhanced version speedruns. After asking around, it seems that the reasoning for this is to preserve the speedrunning rule set back in 2010 for the original version of the game. A sudden change to allow DLC usage 9 years later on the original version would make older runs obsolete. Since there were not a ton of runners either, it was best to let the past stay with the original rule set. Another sad reason to allow DLC for the enhanced version was because DLCs were all included in the game. You didn't have to purchase each one separately like the original version of Borderlands 1. Back to the Nox DLC, this DLC is 30 levels over the players, so it is unbeatable. We're not here to beat the DLC, but instead run around T-Bone Junction and loot a bunch of chests. Since all of these items are level 30 plus, they sell for a lot of money. You will need at least $144,000, which can be achieved through 2 or more runs through T-Bone Junction. After becoming rich, it was time to head back to the main story and start buying all of the health kits. Remember, we need to complete the Merchant of Death challenge, so we need to sell 1,200 items. One health kit costs $140, and then it can be sold for $20. That is a loss of $120 per one health kit. In order to purchase and sell 1,200 of these, you will need at least $144,000. For the next several minutes, speedrunners will buy and sell health kits. If you mash hard, you can sell 1,200 items in about 5 minutes, but clicking repeatedly for that long can tire the hands, so it could take a couple minutes more. This might be one of the most boring strategies in a speedrun, but it ultimately saves so much time since you don't have to farm bosses for XP like the original route. After selling your 1,200th item, you will be awarded 20,000 XP. Now for the most important step. You need to reset the Merchant of Death challenge so you can farm it for all the XP needed for the speedrun. Don't worry, you're not resetting it back to 0 and going through all that pain again. Instead, you are simply buying back one health kit that you sold and tricking the game into thinking you only sold 1,199 items. That will undo the completion of the Merchant of Death challenge and you get to keep the XP. However, selling a health kit right now will not give you even more XP. You need to make sure that you either quit out the game and jump back in, or sell to a different health vendor in another map. For the rest of the speedrun, you will be hanging on to one health kit for your XP farming. With merging weapons and health kits at your side, the rest of the run is rather quite straightforward. It follows the original speedrun route minus stopping to farm bosses for XP. If you saw my Bloodwing Glitch video, you'll know that Mordecai is the fastest character for speedrunning in the original version of Borderlands 1. He can summon a wall of birds to quickly take down everything in your path. However, the Bloodwing Glitch doesn't exist in the enhanced version of the game, so doing that is not an option. That means we'll go with the next fastest character, Lilith. Not only does she have amazing speed using her face walk action skill, but her damage output is also superb. I mean, it won't be Bloodwing Army amounts of damage, but it is still enough thanks to merging snipers on your shotguns. Speaking of shotguns, Baja's bigger blaster cannot be used for the whole entire run. That is where Sledge's shotgun comes in. This shotgun is a guaranteed drop after defeating Sledge and will shred the rest of the run. Sledge's shotgun has very high damage output and is considered one of the most overpowered weapons in this game. Even at the end of the run where the shotgun is severely underleveled, it will still destroy the final boss. Throughout the run, you will be looking for high critical hit damage snipers to merge onto Sledge's shotgun. Most snipers you find will have a 200% critical hit damage bonus, but if you're lucky and find a gamble sniper, it will have 250% bonus crit damage. Ideally, you want to have your Silent Night sniper and find 2 gamble snipers in your run. The gamble drop snipers are random, so you do have to get lucky to find them. In total, 250% times 2, which is 500, plus the 800 gives you 1300% critical hit damage on your shotgun. That is a killer amount. The issue is, Sledge's shotgun has no accuracy. It has 0 accuracy for its stats, so you have to be point blank in enemy's face if you're going to hit critical hits. As for your XP, you will complete the Merchant of Death challenge each time you find a new vendor. Sell your health kit and immediately buy it back. Just make sure that you reset the challenge before proceeding on, otherwise the whole route falls apart. The last thing you want to do is stop and farm bosses for XP since that is very slow. We're trying to go fast. Now, I won't be going into detail for all these small skips and strategies used in the speedrun. If you are interested in those, you can check them out in the Bloodwing Glitch video, which I will link in the description below. As of today, the world record speedrun for Borderlands 1 Enhanced Any Percent sits at 1 hour, 18 minutes, and 38 seconds by BGM. Just to put that into a perspective, that is 24 minutes faster than the world record for the original version of the game. The scary thing is that even more time can be saved. Don't get me wrong, BGM is an excellent speedrunner and I highly recommend you check out his world record speedrun on the enhanced version, but his run does have quite a few mistakes that could shave off another couple minutes. Not only that, but new skips have been discovered since his run from a year ago. When heading to Arid Hills, speedrunners would normally drive over to the map using a car. However, Deceptic showed off a clever death warp strategy to get over to the Arid Hills faster. After turning in the story mission, you can down yourself by using an explosive tank on the roof, bleed out, and spawn right next to the Arid Hills travel point. Going back to the leaderboard for Enhanced, you'll notice a second place user by the name of Mentality. In the recent months, Mentality has found 4 new time-saving skips. The first one is the money route over in the Nox DLC. Normally, players would loot around and save quit to spawn back at the fast travel. It was found that you can simply jump off the map and death warp back to the fast travel. This skipped waiting on the save quit screen to pass since that does waste time. do not worry, not much money has been lost for the respawning fees since no items have been sold at this point. For the final 3 skips, Mentality found some good spots to use the floaty car glitch. By spamming the boost key on a car extremely fast, your car will ignore gravity. However, in order to spam fast enough to get this glitch to work, you will need a free scroll mouse wheel. By binding the boost key to scroll wheel, you can now spin it fast for hundreds of inputs in a single second. That will glitch out the car boost and allow you to get floaty jumps for some pretty cool skips. The first one takes place over in the Doll Headlands. Mentality found that you can use a floaty car jump to get to the fast travel power switch faster. This only saves a small amount of time, but hey, a time save is a time save. For the second floaty jump, you can use one to completely clear the blockade leading over to Crom's Canyon. That is much faster than any of the older strats. For the last one, you can use a floaty jump to clear the Rust Commons bridge before it even begins to lower. The old strat was to go around the rocks to skip the bridge, but the rocks have been changed. The rocks that you jumped to in the original version were completely missing from the enhanced version. I don't believe they were removed on purpose, but instead it seems more like an accidental change. From the original to the enhanced version, the geometry of the world is slightly different, so I feel like that's what caused the rock to disappear. Instead of using one grenade jump to make it across, you now had to use 2 grenades. The second grenade jump is very awkward since you do have to bounce it off a rock wall, and it has a pretty high fail rate too. Thanks to floaty car jumps, that whole process can be entirely skipped and save time. As of now, that is where Borderlands 1 Enhanced speedrunning stands to this day. It is unknown if there are many more skips and strategies to be found in a game that is 12 years old, or technically 2 since the enhanced version came out a couple years ago. The age of the game is irrelevant as long as the game is fun. I do hope to see the record get pushed lower someday with game optimizations and usage of the new skips. In fact, if you are looking into speedrunning a somewhat easy game, I do recommend checking Borderlands 1 Enhanced out. If you can get past some of the major problems this game has, then the game is actually quite fun. I also recommend that you guys check out BGM's world record speedrun in the description below if you want to see how the full run unfolds. Anyways, that's going to do it for the video. If you could sell a health kit to the like button and leave a comment below, I would highly appreciate that. Thanks for watching guys, I hope you have an awesome day, and I will see you all later. Peace out.